I'm never gonna have an immaculate house. I have mental health issues that I'm working through with a therapist to try to uh, help with that. But um, what I think I want to do is I'm gonna put these on unlisted, and then like the ones that are already up, I'm gonna keep those up. But I'm gonna put um most of these videos on unlisted, and then throughout time as I build up more videos, I'm going to like put them out on YouTube. I might like schedule them because you can schedule videos to go out on YouTube, and I might do that, and I'm gonna try that. I don't know if it will work, like to get a little bit of audience, but I mean I don't want a big huge audience. I don't know if I can handle that. But like with my severe ADHD and autism, my autism is level 2. It's not severe, but um I'm never going to be able to keep a clean house. It's not going to happen. Because for one, I don't have a lot of support with my family, and I haven't really taught them a lot about cleaning because I have a problem with teaching myself how to clean a house and housekeeping and stuff. So I just need to come to the terms. I just need to come to terms with it that this place is never going to be like immaculately clean. It's never going to stay that way. Um, because I don't have a neurotypical brain. I don't organize very well. I don't plan. I'm not a planner. I don't, plan birthday parties and stuff like that. I just can't. Um but I do work, and I was thinking about quitting my job there for a little bit. I mean, I'm still kind of going back and forth about it, but like in just doing content full time and just making myself a YouTube channel that nobody will probably watch, but at least it will be like a legacy thing to my kids. I hope my kids will watch some of it when they um when I pass away one day. Um but I want to try to work around that. I really don't want to quit my job because that's the only thing that I am good at. Yeah, it's hard on me. And yeah, I'm probably going to have to, work around being sick and and stuff like, the bad weather and stuff. And, once things get to a point where, I'm having problems with other staff or other like employees, that's probably going to be the drawing point because I can't deal with bullying. I've been bullied my entire freaking childhood. And I'm 43 years old, and it's not something that I want to deal with at all. Like, but I mean, I don't know. One day I'll probably just decide to ditch the job. I don't know. But for right now, I just need to try to hang on and, because I know I'm not good with interviews. So if I quit this job, I'm done. Like, that's done. I'm not going back because I've fought through so many interviews and not gotten callbacks because I answered the wrong questions and stuff like that. And like, it's not, you know, I write down questions to ask the interviewer too, like, you know, um, but I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me, and I just want to live a comfortable life. That's all I want to do. I mean, all of us want to live a comfortable life because if you're in my shoes, my life is not easy. You know, I had to give up my driver's license because of my dyscalculia, which is it's not diagnosed yet, but I mean I have all the symptoms. Like I can't recall math facts. I don't do word problems very well. My spatial awareness is totally trash. Um, I need calculators and I need like number boards, like multiplication tables and stuff. I cannot remember multiplication tables for shit. I always had trouble with what was it? Borrowing. It was subtraction, and you had to borrow from another number. I can't remember if it's borrowing, and like I could do it with adding, but like I could never figure out how to subtract and borrow from another number because I could never figure out like which number needed to go down I don't know. I never got it, and I still probably I thought I got it, but then the teacher would be like, "No, no, no, that's wrong. No." And I'm like, "Seriously? Like I thought I had the hang of it." No. So, the dyscalculia is part of why I am not driving anymore because like I can drive a car just fine. I can operate a vehicle. I can somewhat judge distance. Um, that kind of gets hard when I have to pull out into like two-way traffic. But driving the vehicle itself is not like an issue. It's me trying to know where I'm at, and that's when it gets hard to drive the vehicle because you think you need to be in one lane, but you need to be in the other lane to turn, and it's too late. And then you're like, oh, I'm going straight because you can't cut people off. So it's just things like that, and like that's what the reason I don't drive because it's dangerous for me, and I've had my accidents before, and I did drive for a while. Like I had my license from when I was like 22 till I was 39, I believe. And in those years, I barely drove. Like I drove to work and stuff, but I never did any type of like driving regular like day driving like people usually do to go run errands and stuff. I never went to meet up with friends and stuff like that. So I have my husband doing most of the driving, all of the driving, not most. Um, I decided last year, my license was um, needed to be replaced on my 43rd birthday, and I decided to just get a state ID and just do with driver's license because there's just too much anxiety with it. Taking people home, like people asking for rides and stuff, like it just no. Like this one time, I had my supervisor. I was working at Holiday Inn, and I had a car, and I always gave her rides home because she was only like 5 minutes straight shot from Holiday Inn, and she lived in that trailer park down the road there in Coal Valley. But um, so I would give her rides home, but I was still nervous having somebody riding with me. I didn't care if I knew him or not, and because I was always afraid I was going to make a mistake, and I did, and but I drove her around a little bit, and just because I went and picked her up a couple times from work because she didn't have a ride, and I usually, dropped her off at home because, like, I mean, yes, she was 5 minutes, but it probably takes 20 minutes to walk from there to the place she lived. But taking directions is not a good thing with me. I don't know north from south from west to east. You tell me go to south, I'm just like, what? It's like numbers and math and measuring and stuff. Like it's all a different language to me. And I did a little bit of research on it, and it was just like, um, sorry, I thought saw somebody in the backyard, but there's nobody there. Um, what was I saying? Hang on. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, like I was just saying about the math disability or math learning disability. It's there, and it was never caught when I was in school. And I was, I was I struggled through math. Um, it was hard, and I didn't, and I was so much better at like English and science and stuff like that. Other than science, going like through the numbers and stuff, like I didn't do good with that. But science, I loved science. I still like science. I like to know how things work. I like to know like how things were made, when things were made, like stuff like that. And space. I like space stuff. Like um, but that's pretty much you know the ADHD thing. It ties into a lot of the executive functioning, and it's not there. Like I don't have the ability to maintain a house with all the stuff in it. And yeah, I need to declutter, and I want to do some decluttering videos, but I just want to talk about some of the struggles that I go through. And it's hard, and I know I'm not the only one that deals with this. Like there's tons of videos on there on YouTube where people do not have executive functioning skills, whether it's from ADHD or they just never taught. My mom and dad always kept a very clean home. And I always thought, oh, they'll keep a clean home. I know how to keep a clean home. The thing is with that, my mom didn't have ADHD. She was a neurotypical person. She could do anything. Like she could sew, she could, she drove a stick shift, she had a good job, she did all the, she was a manager at a newspaper um, place where they deliver newspapers. She was a district manager. So, she did things like that. She could, they built boats, like um boats that you can float on water, not like real ones, but like I want to say RC boats. Um she was talented. She was very smart. And I'm not saying I'm not, I do compare myself to her because she raised me, and I kind of expected to be just like her when I grew up, but it's not. It's not. And so, once I got my diagnosis of the ADHD, which came before the autism, it it made a lot of sense. I had to take an online test and wait a couple weeks for an actual doctor to go through the test and look at it. And yeah, the ADHD was there. I had to pay for it. Like it was $90 or something like that. But it took me 4 hours, so it was a legit ADHD test. So once I got the results back from that, I took it to my doctor. And I was like, okay, should we start stimulants? Because, so we started stimulants. And at the time, I wasn't seeing the doctor I'm seeing now. I was seeing somebody else who's not even there anymore. But we started some stimulants, and I started on Adderall. And it knocked me for a loop. It didn't do nothing but knock me out. All I did was sleep. And so I called her a couple weeks later and said, I can't do this. Like, I can't function at all. Like I have kids and stuff that I have to take care of, and I was in bed like probably 75% of the time. That's how bad it was. We took off, we took that away, and I started feeling better like immediately. Like, um, so, we went, I can't even remember because I've been going through so many meds, like for ADHD. I left that therapy center and I went to Robert Young, where I'm seeing my doctor now. But I went to, actually, I think I went to Robert Young and then I went to Transitions because Robert Young was my doctor there. He was not helping me try to get a diagnosis. Like, he was putting me in therapy and stuff like that. But I kept telling him, I need a diagnosis, or I need like, but he wasn't helping me. And so I was like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going to another doctor. So I went to Transitions. And that's when I took the test on the computer and had the results emailed back to me, which stated that yes, I had ADHD. And that's when I started the stimulants with that other doctor. And I can't remember why I left that one therapy center, but I went back to Robert Young. And I was placed with Dr. Wilczynski, and she is freaking amazing. She's the one that diagnosed me. Like, the first time seeing me, she read all my notes, and I sat down with her, and I was like, so I'm all over the place. I can't do anything right, or, and she just looks at me and she goes, you have autism. And that, I couldn't talk. I could not talk because I was a big diagnosis. And she said, you also have fetal alcohol syndrome. You were born with that. Um, there's a lot of other things, like, I can't think of a name right now, but, like, I was born the way I was born. And I didn't choose to be born like that, but, or maybe I did. Maybe we do decide when we're not born yet. Maybe God asks us, do you want to live a hard life or do you want to live an easy life? Maybe I was like, I want to see if I can live a hard life. No. If I could go back, I'd be like, please, just give me an easy life, please. But anyway, I didn't ask to be here on this planet with all these problems. My birth parent, my birth person, I don't even call her birth mom because she there's a lot of different things that went on with that. She pretty much neglected me and abandoned me, but she chose her alcohol over me and pretty much all of her kids. I was um I was the third kid out of four kids of hers. And I know I have a sister that um is, I think, a little bit worse off than me. I'm not going to say her name and I'm not going to say where she's at, but I know I do have a younger sister and she looks just like me. Um, so, and I think there was like two other girls, two older girls. One was, I think, left at the hospital. She didn't take that kid home. I think the father raised that one or something. And I don't know anything about the father. I have no idea. I think the only thing I think I know about him is he's like, his name is William, I think. I don't know. I don't know who I look like. I've seen a picture of my birth person, but I have not met her. I don't know her at all. She doesn't know me. Um, and I don't know. It would be really weird if we met because I'd just be like, do you realize what I've been through? You really don't. You don't. But I don't know. You got to forgive because holding on to all that is not going to hurt anybody but you. And hell, I don't even know if she's alive. I don't know. I don't know her at all. Like, I've never met this woman. I've seen one picture of her, and that was when, so my parents had taken me in for a foster kid because they took me out of her care, and the the only picture that I even have of her as sitting on her lap, and I think it was like Christmas Eve or something like that. It was like December 24th of 1983, I think, or 1984, one of the two. But anyway, I was about a year or two old, and that's the only picture I have of her. My adopted mom, kept that picture so I could see what she looked like, and I look nothing like her. I don't think. Like, um, I don't know who I look like, but I don't think I look like her. My daughter looks like me. Both of my daughters look like me. So, you know, it's it's just hard. Like, you can't hold on to grudges and stuff because it's not gonna get you anywhere in life. It's just gonna hurt you. And I've done a lot of things in my life that a lot of people in my situation, like with my disabilities, would never do. I bought a house. I started a family. I'm raising kids. I finished high school. I drove. I did have a car at one point. I work. I've worked my entire adulthood. So, like, and it's been very traumatizing working. Like, working has been, it's not good. I, no. So I am trying to, I'm at a point now where I'm really comfortable where I'm working. I am by myself. I do my own thing. I can run the laundry room just fine, by myself. I know what I'm doing. I know when to do things, how to do things. So right now it's good. Everything's fine with work. But um my boss, he's another story. I won't get into him, but I work, I get along with my coworkers pretty good. So there's that. I guess I better hold on to it because, I'm not going back. I cannot go back. I'm not going to put myself through it. And I just keep telling myself, I'm like, either hold on to this or you're going to lose it because you're replaceable. They may not have a person that can work like me in that laundry room because that laundry room is, it's nobody wants to make a career out of working in a nursing home laundry or housekeeping job. Like, nobody wants a career doing that unless you're me and you're not good at anything else. Like, I actually did try to go to college when I was 19, and I tried to, I picked a profession. I was wanting to be a paraprofessional because I wanted to help the kids like I was helped. So I was like, yeah, I want to be a teacher's aide. I want to be a paraprofessional. So that's the classes that I went ahead and started taking at Black Hawk College. And probably a couple months into it, I dropped it because I couldn't hold it. I couldn't keep up with the work, and college is a lot different than high school. Like, college doesn't have, or not that I know of. I mean, I think they do have tutors, but like they don't have like a special education or a 504 plan. You know what I'm saying? For people, like they don't have that kind of support. So if you go in this college with like disabilities or like like dyslexia or some kind of math learning disability like I have, dyscalculia, then you're going to struggle unless you have support. And usually colleges don't have support. I fell behind. Um, I tried to catch up and it was just too overwhelming. And I just said, Mom, I can't do this. I got to quit because I was literally having nightmares, like freaking out, total anxiety, which of course, my parents didn't want to have labels on me. So I had a couple people like my sister say, well, she probably needs some help. Get her therapy because I was very like, I had PMDD and didn't know it. And so, my periods would come and I would just flip out. Finally got that taken care of. Um, I mean, yeah, and so my dad literally told me like you either go to school or you're going to work. I didn't want to do any of it because it was, I didn't know why I was so different and why things were so much harder for me than everybody else. And so I was like, okay, well, I had this guy whose name was Steve. I can't remember his name, but he worked through like a job placement place. And he's the one that got me, well, actually, yeah, he's the one that helped me get the job at the YMCA after I graduated high school. And then I stayed there until I was like 19, I think. And then that's when I quit there and I went to Holiday Inn and I was a housekeeper. Well, the housekeeping position wasn't going well. I wasn't like you're timed in those rooms to clean a certain amount of time because, they have people coming in and then the rooms need to be sold and stuff like that. So they need to be cleaned. Well, I wasn't able to see the fine things like smears on the mirrors and hair in the bathtub and stuff like that. And I was no good at making the beds and I was too slow. So my manager, she looked at me, she said, I don't think you're going to work out in the housekeeping department. I'm going to put you in laundry. So I said, okay, well, we'll see what goes on there. So I went out to laundry and that's when I met Jackie. I almost failed there too. I couldn't figure out how to fold the damn sheets. And I was just like, this isn't gonna work either. I'm not getting this. Like, I was really trying. Like, and she even said, like, I see you're trying. I see that you're trying. So she literally had to take me aside and step by step show me how to fold these sheets and to like what sizes and stuff. That's the only way that I learned how to fold the sheets. She was the only one that could teach me. And so I was there for like 5 years, and that was heaven and hell because I had the issues that I did and didn't know why I was struggling with certain things. I loved my job there, but yet I was constantly anxious. And that's when I started seeing a counselor and a psychiatrist. And I mean it goes on and on and on, but like I don't want to take too much. But anyway, that's just some of the ways that I've struggled in my life. And I still struggle to this day, and I'm always going to struggle, and that's just part of life for me. And I have to live up to my own expectations now instead of my parents' expectations or anybody else's expectations. I've lived up to my parents' expectations for so long that I literally didn't realize that, that's why I was so hard on myself all the time, because I'm like, why can't I do this? Why is this so hard for me? So yeah. Um I haven't even taken my meds yet or anything else. Like, I could go on to my life story through a video, but I don't think it's gonna be this one. Right now I'm by myself, so I don't mind talking in front of the camera. My husband is at a doctor's appointment, so he should probably be home soon. But yeah, like, that's pretty much a lot of things that I've dealt with throughout my life, and I had a good childhood. I was happy. I had all the toys, and I rode my bike. I went to sleepovers. I went to school. I did all that stuff, but I didn't do the extracurricular stuff because I was just like, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to. And my daughter, she's the same way. Um, but my other daughter, she's all about doing all the other stuff, and like, it's hard because Tim has to take his brother, and I don't drive. I've almost went and got my license back just so I could take the kids to their after school activities and pick them up and stuff. But I was like, no, I can't do it because I can't put myself in that position. I can't put my kids in that position. So, you know, um, it's just that's just kind of why things are not going to ever be. And I gotta stop comparing myself to these freaking YouTubers that can do all of this stuff all the time, because I can't. My brain capacity is small. And with a that's another thing. I took a gene site test. Oh no, yeah, I took a gene site test, but I also took um a neuropsych test. And for a person who only has an IQ of 77, I've done a lot in life. But that's pretty much another reason why I struggle, like, in a lot of things, because my brain isn't that powerful. And my husband knows it, and my kids know that I have disabilities. And I tell them all the time, I'm just like, I'm sorry I can't do this for you. And, it breaks my heart because I wanted to be a mom like my mom was to me. And those kids deserve it. Like, they're really good kids. Like, I have awesome kids. And, yeah, they screw up every so often. Like, my daughter didn't take her meds today. But I'm trying to teach them to be independent. So, like, and they're neurodivergent as well. So, I gotta work with that too. And my daughter, she's level 2 autistic, just like I am. My other daughter, we tried to get her diagnosed, and they didn't make a diagnosis. They said that, you know, I don't know, they said she was too advanced or something like that. But I know she's autistic because of the things that she does. And I've mentioned that to the people who are testing her. So, um, we took her to Easter Seals and had her tested. It was like a 2-year wait list. We got there, we did all the testing, they asked all the questions, and they just said no, she's not. And I was like, I want a second opinion, because me and my daughter are both autistic. And I know she is because, some of the things that she does. And I've done a lot of research on autism and ADHD, and still doing a lot of research because I'm fascinated in it. It's almost like my special interest now. And because, I want to know a lot about myself and a lot about what my kids are probably going to go through and stuff like that. So, like, I put myself all into this diagnosis. but I'm not trying to like let it define me. So, it's kind of like that, but whatever. But my house is a mess, and it's probably going to stay a mess whether I clean it or not. And I mean, it's going to feel good when I do clean it, and it's going to stay that way for like a day or two, and that's just going to be fucked up again. So, it's something I have to come to terms with, but I still have to work with my therapist and stuff, and we have some things wrote down that we're gonna try. I'm surprised she hasn't given up on me yet because I haven't done anything that she's. I mean, I have tried some of it, but like I can't stick with it. I can't keep a routine or a habit or starting a habit or keeping a habit. That shit is hard for me. I just and I want to get my kids into that because and I've tried and it's just like it's impossible. So many of my therapists are talking about triggers and like things to get me motivated to do what I need to do, and it's all just. But I think I need to end this. This is like 38 minutes. Can't really read it, but so I'm just gonna end this. I was gonna do like a day in the life, but I started chatting, and I think I'm just gonna leave it as this. I'll probably just edit it and put it up, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make it unlisted, and when I'm ready to release a few more videos, I'll put them up for the public to see. But I don't know if that's gonna help like grow my channel or not. Probably not, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble about my bullshit and my problems and things. So thanks. See you later.